The most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any. Alice Walker. Uh-oh. I seem to have lost my applause. Oh no! That was supposed to end with applause. Hooray! Welcome to the Purple Positivity Podcast for September the 24th, 2018. I am your host, the amazingly adorable and very confused Rebecca Thistle, podcasting to you live-ish from my new used desk in my apartment, which I call Jeffrey Thistlework. Yes. I don't know how much longer I can call this desk new used, because I got it back in frickin' June, so it's not that new. I mean, it's still used, obviously, but it's not new to me anymore. So, so I decided that I'm going to start each show as best I can with a quote, because it just sort of seems weird to just start with the theme song, because when I was recording it, I didn't, do a build-up to, the full, whatever. I didn't really do a build-up, and then, the fade-out and all that. So I sort of feel like it's just like, boom, and so I felt like, oh, okay, no, maybe I should start with a quote. Yes. So, anyways, also, I know this is late. I had I'm having really weird mornings these days, because, I swear to you, I have alarms that go off at 4, 4:30, 5, 5:30, 6, 6:15, 6:30, 6:45, 7 o'clock. Because I have no fucking sense of time. I am horrible when it comes to time. And so I have these alarms throughout the day, but especially in the morning, to keep me on track. And so this morning, or last night when I went to bed, I was like, okay, I'm getting up at 4 in the morning. That's just all there is to it. I'm getting up, and I gotta record my podcast. Well, I remember my 4 a.m. alarm going off, and I was like, and I turned it off, and I was like, I'm just gonna sleep for another 30 minutes. But the next alarm I remember hearing was my 5 o'clock alarm, so I must have slept through the 4:31 or something. And then I don't know what happened in my mind between 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock, but it's just like, it's just in a haze of something. I remember waking up and going, okay, I'm going to watch the main story from last week tonight, which is what I do every Monday, except for when they're on break. And then something happened in my brain and just clicked off, and next thing I knew, it was 6 o'clock, and I went, oh shit, I gotta get ready for work. So anyway, so I think I'm gonna have to start recording these the night before. But I wanted to make sure that I recorded one for Monday, because that's my schedule in my head, is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I'm gonna record one tonight. Right now, it's about 8:20 or so when I'm recording this, and so I'll record another one tomorrow night. And and then another one Thursday night so that I can post it Wednesday morning and Friday morning, because I think that'll be easier on my poor little hazy brain to just go, oh yeah, that's right, I just gotta publish my podcast. And so that's good. That's my plan anyways. So yes, what am I talking about today? As you can tell from the title of the show, I'm going to talk about something regarding creating what you deserve, right? I say it at the end of every show. Go out there, create what you deserve, believe that you deserve it, and create it. So I'm going to kind of get into, well, I'm going to try and really get into what I mean by that and sort of where that came from in my life. And this is actually something that I quite frequently post in comments on various groups on Facebook that I'm in on Facebook. I swear it's like, it's every single day that I go through posts in groups, I find at least one from someone who I feel this urge to say, look, you can create what you deserve, but you've got to believe that you deserve it first. And so and it's getting to a point now where I'm like, I think I'm going to have to write a book about this. And then just from here on out say, okay, read this book, damn it. Because I'm starting to get kind of annoyed, and I don't want to create I love helping people, because every time I post a create what you deserve comment, people always respond very favorably and say, wow, I'd never really thought about that, or, thank you, and, this really inspired me, and so I love that, but it is really tedious writing it out every single day, once a day. And I don't want to create a form comment about creating what you deserve so that I can just copy and paste it every time I feel it's necessary. I like tailoring my comments for people. Taking my time and letting them know, hey, this dissertation brought to you by the amazingly adorable Rebecca Thistle. So I'm amusing myself at this point. So what do I actually mean by that? So let me first explain where it came from. Back in 2014, I was going to school to be a chemical dependency counselor, and one of the classes I had to take was substance abuse prevention. And the first assignment in substance abuse prevention was to make a flyer target at preventing substance abuse. And so for my flyer, I was like, I'm going to create a hashtag and, about this. And, and I can't remember what my first initial drafts of the hashtag were. But they had nothing to do with creating what you deserve. But then as I sort of started getting frustrated and sort of stepping back from this, I started remembering some things that Dr. Phil says on his show on a fairly regular basis, actually. Excuse me. He says something to the effect of, and he has said this to drug addicts, he has said this to people in domestic violence situations, he has said this to a lot of different people, that we as human beings, and I'm not quoting here, I'm sort of paraphrasing, we as human beings have a sort of habit or ability or whatever to create for ourselves the situations and circumstances that we believe we deserve to be in. And so I went, hashtag create what you deserve. And so I created this flyer, and my teacher really liked it. But here's the other thing, was at this time, I was actually living in a domestic violence shelter. And somehow that hashtag, I kept thinking about it. And I realized that the situation that had led me to this shelter, i.e. the abusive relationship that landed me there, I had created for myself because I believed that I deserve it. Now, let me take a step back here. In reality land, in general consensus reality, I did not deserve that. But in my mind and in my heart, I believed that I deserved to be taken advantage of that way. I believed that I deserved to be hurt that way. I believed that I deserved to be physically abused, verbally abused, psychologically abused, financially abused. I believed that I deserved that. I believed at that time, and to a certain extent even now, that I deserved to be the kind of person that gives everything she has to other people and never get anything in return. And because I believe this in my heart of hearts, even though this is not what it should be in reality, I allowed this situation to happen. And I really don't want to get into the details of how it came about. I'm not ready to talk about that entirely. I've talked about it in previous episodes that I have since deleted, so don't go looking. But I believed that I deserved that situation. Deep down in my heart of hearts, in my soul of souls, I didn't think I was a Percy worthy of respect, worthy of reciprocation, worthy of love. I didn't believe that. And I'm humble enough and honest enough to straight up tell you right now, to a certain degree, I still believe this. So everything I'm about to tell you henceforth are things on which I am working just as much as I'm telling anyone else to consider this. So here's the good news. I can change my beliefs. I am capable of this. Here's the bad news. Only I am capable of doing this. You know, like, all caps, someone, bless him, he is always saying some of the nicest things to and about me. And I appreciate it so much. But he can say those things all he wants, and if I don't believe them, he's just wasting his breath. Thankfully for him, he's not wasting his breath. Be that as it may, only I can change what I believe about myself and about the things that I deserve. And I mean, superficially, at the time when I first went into the domestic violence shelter, as of tomorrow, the 25th, it will be exactly 4 years since I went into that shelter and left that toxic situation. But when I first left, or even shortly before I left, when I sort of started snapping out of the darkness and the funk in my head brought about by all the abuse, superficially I told myself, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve this. But fast forward about a month and a half, 2 months after leaving that situation, I had to take a step back and say, no, you know what? I allowed that to happen. That doesn't necessarily mean that I deserved it to happen in what I call reality land, but in Becca's head, I deserved it. In my head, I deserved what I got. And because I believed that, I allowed it to happen. And so that's kind of like the first step in changing this, is acknowledging that you have this belief. And that is so